Hotero is a boy who is not only lazy, but also a silent genius. He does not like meeting people at all. He always wants to be alone. Peace is the biggest peace for him. But his life turns upside down when he has to join a club forcibly. And there he meets the most popular girl in the school, Uru. By mistake, he said some words in front of Uru that directly touched his heart. And now that girl is ready to do anything for him. On the first day of school, Hotero, ignoring everyone, goes straight to the class, so that he can spend time a little peacefully. But his peace does not last long, because an overly friendly nerd boy Satoshi comes to him. He is boring his mind with just one thing. So join a club. Life will be a little interesting. Then Hotero pulls out a paper, the acceptance letter of the classic club. He casually says that his sister was in that club before, and he said that if he does not join the club, then the club will be closed. After the classes, Hotero takes a key from the office and goes to the door of the club room. As soon as he knocks on the door, a girl's voice is heard from inside. Uru is in front of him, the girl whom the whole campus calls the Queen. Hotero's heart suddenly starts beating fast, but he controls his emotions and casually asks, "What are you doing here?" Uru smiles and says, "I am also joining for personal reasons." Hearing this, Hotero's expression changes. He thought that he would chill alone in the club. But now this plan has failed completely. He starts leaving and says, "Knock on the door." But Uru stops him and says that he is with you. Hotero comes in shock because when he came, the door was locked. So how did Uru come inside? Uru says that when I came, the door was open, and now she asks him for help to understand how the door was knocked by herself. At this moment, Hotero notices that Satoshi is watching them secretly. He gets embarrassed and says, "I didn't think you would be alone with a girl." Uru blushes a little, and the atmosphere gets a little awkward. Hotero starts leaving again, but Uru holds her hand and says, "Let's solve this mystery first." There was something in her eyes that Hotero had never felt before, a sort of curiosity and warmth. At that moment, Hotaru's heart awakens with a new emotion, and he finally agrees to help. The three together tell the theorist that how did Uru get locked in the room? Uru says that she was hearing a strange light voice. The three become quiet and listen carefully. That voice is actually coming from a club room from below. When they go down, they see that a watchman is locking the second room with his master key. Then Hotero calmly explains that it seems that the watchman must have knocked inside by mistake at the time of the round. Even after the mystery is solved, Hotero remains a little confused. Why didn't Uru notice this first? Uru smiles and says, "Let me show you the place where I was stuck." As soon as they go back to that place, the wooden floor of the old building makes a little creepy sound, but there is a strange comfort in the atmosphere. Hotero feels for the first time that it won't be that bad to stay in a club. This incident makes a silent bond between the two of them. Without any confusion, without any promise, just through a little mystery, their hearts come a little closer to each other. When that useless investigation is finally over, the three decide to go home. But before going, Satoshi announces that he will also join the class club now, so that everyone can solve more mysteries together. The next day after class, Satoshi gets excited and goes to Hotero, and tells him about a scary school legend. His plan is that the two of them will solve the mystery hidden behind him, but Hotero ignores him because he is busy with his assignment. Then Satoshi casually says that he heard this legend from Uru first. As soon as Hotero hears this, he gets a little interested. Now he asks Satoshi, "Do you know such legends?" After a while, Uru also comes to the club room and she also wants to talk about the same legend. But Hotero stops him in the middle and suggests that Satoshi tell his new legend first. Satoshi says that there is a mysterious club in the school, Silk Spider, which no one could find. It is said that this club sometimes secretly attacks the student council. He was angry that maybe they use cigarette flares to attract new members. As soon as he hears this, Uru again sees Hotero from his curious stare, as he saw yesterday. And this time without much resistance, Hotero agrees to do an investigation with them. After a while, the three of them come to the notice board, where every club has an advertisement. Uru and Satoshi carefully start looking for the clubs. But suddenly, Hotero sees a hidden flyer, a small silk which is hidden under all the colorful posters. He calmly says that it seems that the Silk Spider Society must have hidden it here so that no one could find it. Even after the mystery is solved, Uru feels a little disappointed, because this case was not as interesting as the previous one. Still, she smiles and says that another mystery has been solved. The three of them leave for home. On the way, Satoshi says a little teasing that you made this fake mystery only so that you don't have to get into Uru's real legend. Hotero casually says that I was just avoiding extra work, but Satoshi laughs and says, or you just don't have the courage to say no to Uru. After a month, Hotero comes to the club with her usual calm and detached Sigma look. She secretly has a little hope in her mind that somehow Uru must have become a little obsessed with her now. But as usual, Uru doesn't even pay attention to her. She is just busy making the club more creative. At the time of brainstorming, she gives a new idea. At the time of the festival, we can make an anthology. Hotero immediately refuses. I can't handle more social activity. And then Uru sits in his peaceful corner as if nothing had happened. In the scene of the library, the story takes a funny and a little mysterious turn. Uru uses her charm again, and Hotero melts again in front of her. Uru takes her to the library so that she can do research for her anthology topic. As soon as she reaches there, Hotero is a little surprised, because there she meets her friend Mayaka, who is watching her, and says that you never come to the library yourself. That's when Satoshi comes from inside and says in a joke that Mayaka wants to be close to Hotero, and hearing this, Mayaka gets angry and says that she will never be attracted to such antisocial creeps. Then Uru tells everyone about her anthology plan and asks Mayaka for the issues of the old club members. But Mayaka says that those books are locked in the archives and they will have to wait for the head librarian. Meanwhile, Satoshi asks Mayaka about an old mystery. Hotero starts running to save her, but when she shows interest in Uru, she is forced to join that investigation again. After a while, Mayaka tells that a book has been written every Friday for the past 5 weeks, while the rule of the library is that books can be taken for up to 2 weeks. Hotero shows that it doesn't matter to her, so that Uru can convince her with her cute face. But Mayaka breaks their moment and starts solving the mystery. She tells that this book has been borrowed from 5 different girls, and that too at about the same time, means this book is not being read, but is being used for some other work. Then everyone starts thinking, and then comes back to the front desk and compares it with the other book. Then Uru gets the smell of paint thinner from that book. Hotero says in a joke, "Have you got the nose of a dog?" And then they all come to the art club, where some girls are making portraits with that book. Mayaka and Uru both praise her that Hotero has done something this time. Then everyone returns to the library to tell Satoshi. As soon as Hotero starts going, Uru stops her because she still has to decide the anthology topic. Then the librarian Yuka comes there and tells her that there is no old issue left in the archives now. And then she leaves from there. The scene ends in a light mystery and a little dramatic tension, like in every interesting episode of anime. The weekend finally came, and Hotero thought that this time he would enjoy his whole weekend alone and peacefully. But on Sunday, he gets a call from Uru, who asks him to meet. After a while, Hotero is waiting for him in a coffee shop. Then Uru comes out of breath and apologizes for being late. After ordering, Hotero asks Sita, "Why did you come to meet me?" And Uru starts changing the topic. Hotero understands that it will spoil her weekend mood, so she gets up and leaves. Then Uru apologizes to her and says that she actually wants to confess something which was very difficult for her. After hearing this, Hotero has only one thing in her mind, that she will now confess her love to me. But the story does not go from there to romance, but to emotional mode. Uru tells that his uncle had disappeared from India 7 years ago, and now he is officially considered dead. She says that when she was little, she asked her uncle about the classic club. At first, he refused to answer. But when Uru asked again and again, he gave such an answer that was so painful that she started crying. And the saddest thing is that she did not even try to console him at that time. Now Uru wants her to remember what she said and why she behaved so coldly with him. Hotero does not understand why this is so important. Then Uru tells that she joined the classic club so that she can understand that memory related to her uncle. Now when her uncle's funeral is about to take place, she wants her to remember those words so that she can feel closer to him. Hotero says in his attitude that it does not matter to him, and this is not his problem, and he will not help. But this time, Uru does not move from his words when he asks, "Why did you choose me?" So Uru says with a smile that you are a small Sherlock Holmes for me. She praises Hotero and says that her sharp brain can help her. After hearing so much praise, Hotaru's ego gets a little happy, and finally he says yes to help. As a joke, he says that I will also find the disease of your forgetfulness. Next week, the midterm exams start, so the club activities are temporarily closed. But on the last day of the exam, when Hotero returns home, he gets a new letter from his sister. In it, she writes about her abrupt life and asks if she has started the work of anthology. She also tells that there is a safe in the club room in which the old issues are still kept. The next day, Hotero shows his sister's letters to Mayaka and Uru. It is written in the letter that there is a safe in the club room in which the old anthology issues have been kept. But both the girls are very surprised because they have never seen a safe in the current club. Then Hotero reminds them that his sister had graduated 2 years ago, and since then the club room has shifted. Luckily, Hotero had already done a little research in his lazy detective style, and he knew where the old club room was. But obviously he won't move until Uru uses his cute smile and a little charm to pull him. When they reach the old club, Hotero sees some strange sensors there, as if a pyramid raccoon is protecting his secret den. The room's door is locked, but a voice comes from inside. After a while, a boy comes out. His name is Masashi, and the whole air is filled with perfume with him. Masashi feels a little awkward as soon as he sees Yuri and asks what they are doing near his club. Uru and Mayaka tell him about the safe, but Masashi says that there was no such safe. Then Mayaka pulls Hotero aside, and this boy looks a little suspicious. After a while, Hotero reminds him about the school rules that any student can check in any club room. Hearing this, Masashi lets him in. Hotero immediately notices that a fan is placed in a specific place, right in front of that art piece, which Masashi is running. He says, although the window was already open. But Hotero doesn't say anything and helps in the search. He doesn't find anything, so Hotero casually asks, "Did you move some boxes or furniture when you joined the club?" Masashi says that he only removed some boxes. Then Hotero speaks a little calmly. "It seems that we will have to check this place with the supervisor." Hearing this, Masashi's reactions suddenly become aggressive, and he shouts to get out of here. Before leaving, Hotero tells him that if he finds anthology, he can find it in the library. After a few hours, a miracle happens, when all the old anthology issues are found stuck in their current club room. Mayaka gets excited and asks, "How did all this happen?" Hotero says with a smile, "Just promise, don't tell anyone." He explains that Masashi put on the seniors so that no one could reach their secret stack. He was actually addicted to Janam's spray, and using such an old spray was against the school rules. If this had come to light, it would have been a big risk for his explosion and his family. That's why when Hotero took the name of the supervisor, he got scared. Self was actually under a fake table, and his perfume was hiding the stack. And in this way, Hotero solved the mystery without doing anything directly, like a real Sherlock Holmes does. When Mayaka finishes his roasting, Satoshi comes there wearing a dress like a Sunflower Rights anti-visit, and he gets very excited to hear the news. At that time, Eru takes Hotero aside and shows another anthology and tells that it is related to his uncle, because it was written about him. That issue was written a year later when his uncle had left the school, in which he was shown as a hero, although he was not like that. And seeing all this, Eru looks a little sad. Hotero tells him that let's see issue first, because he is from when his uncle was also a student, but Mayaka tells that issue is not found anywhere now. On returning home at night, Hotero tells Eru that now the thing should be told to everyone, so that everyone can help together. But Eru refuses. Then Hotero reminds him that both of their minds are now running on low battery, and it will be very difficult to understand something alone. The next day, Eru tells everything to Satoshi and Mayaka in the club. Everyone decides to meet at Iru's house on the weekend. By then, everyone will do their research. On Saturday, Satoshi arrives with his over-the-top, colorful energy, and Hotero tries his best to ignore him. But now the embarrassment was fixed. So they ride a cycle and reach that big amusement park. After a while, Eru welcomes them and shows them a royal corner in his big house. Then she takes everyone to the meeting room, where Mayaka is already sitting like a boss. After everyone is comfortable, Eru gives them a copy of the second anthology preface, because it is the same part in which something is written about his uncle. It is written in it that he was expelled from school 35 years ago, after a fight. But the next year, when the anthology was written again, he was shown like a legend. Eru tells that all this happened at the time of the school festival, and that's how he fought some bad guys and saved everyone. That's why he became famous and was expelled, but Satoshi and Hotero both call his theory wrong. They say that at that time, that is, at the end of the 90s, there were no such violent cases in the school. After a while, Mayaka takes everyone to the porch, from where an amazing view is seen. There she gives some papers to everyone, and tells that this year when Eru's uncle was removed. Then there was a very big protest in the school, against such a new school policy, due to which all the students were affected. Mayaka believes that Eru's uncle was the leader of that protest, and that's how he fought some teachers. That's why he was expelled from school. But Hotero tells him wrong, and says that the protest happened many months before his exclusion. That means Mayaka's theory is also not correct. The next member comes to Satoshi, but his stomach becomes more active than that, and everyone goes back inside. After eating food, Satoshi pulls out some old school newspapers, which are of that time. That protest was actually peaceful, and expects Hotero to solve the mystery by running his big brain. And Hotero is completely bored by now, and he pretends that, so that everyone doesn't ask him any more theories. And Eru remembers that he left some things outside. Hotero immediately makes an excuse to go to the bathroom. By mistake, he reaches Eru's room. Then finally, after getting the bathroom, and starts putting all the clues in his mind. After a while, when everyone comes to the table, he says that Eru's uncle's exclusion was not random. Everything was like a plane. According to him, Eru's uncle was leading a protest against that new school's rule, which was also related to the school's festival. In his leadership, the student protested and forced the school so that the festival can run for 5 days, but the school quietly expelled him after a few months in return, so that there is no more rebellion. Eru says thank you to everyone, and says that he is tired of Eru, but Hotero refuses, and says that he is proving that he is a good person. He reaches home at night. He keeps fighting with his feelings, and finally, to save himself, he calls his sister. Both of them are talking very normally in the beginning. Then he mentions his investigation, which he did about Eru's uncle Satani, which blows his mind. She says that the whole incident was actually a tragedy, and his sister cuts the call and stresses about her so-called genius theory, which now seems like a nonsense theory to him, for an emergency meeting, so that everyone can insult him. Then Hotero tells everyone about that mysterious phone call. This is our next club. Accepted to take blame for his friends, Satoshi says. We will have to find that person. He already knows. Everyone reaches the library in a while Hotero and Satoshi go straight to Yako, and with their questions. First, Yako is very surprised by their sudden question. Then she accepts that she wrote the preface. It feels like a boss fight cutscene, that she understood most of the parts of the story correctly, and then she starts telling the whole truth. She says that at that time, school festivals were the most important for students. But 1 year, the festival was reduced to only 2 days, and started protesting, but no one dared to take the lead. Then her unknown student, so that the blame comes to someone else. And the martial arts building caught fire. This was a perfect opportunity for the school, and ortho sanity, so that everyone could see quietly. But still everyone had one question in mind. Then Hotero thinks that the answer to this, and in that name, which Satani had kept, Hayuka's normal milling is ice cream. That Lolly shows that she was sacrificed like her classmates' sacrificial goat, because none of them dared to take responsibility. Her uncle had once told her, hearing this, and thanks Hotero for understanding everything. But Hotero shows everything normal in her classic style, as if this is another day for her. After a few days, Hotero takes a blank stare in the class, thinking that the teacher's words, there is a hot argument between Eru and the teacher. And that evening when everyone meets in the club room, Poor Satoshi was just trying to save her work. So Hotero casually says, and hearing this, Maya becomes silent, as if someone has turned off the switch. Then everyone starts discussing the effect of anger while passing time. They didn't have any other work, Satoshi jokingly says. Maya should join the anger management class. Otherwise, it will become a medical case from outburst. Hotero is fed up with all these usual talks. By the way, what argument did you have with the teacher today? But after his question, a strange curiosity appears on Eru's face, which immediately makes Hotero regret. Why did she leave this topic? But Eru grabs his bag. Then Hotero was fully understanding, and she is again trapped in a trap, and now in our broken Sherlock Holmes, was officially trapped. Then Eru finally tells what happened. He says that the teacher came to the class in a usual way, but this time he gave such a problem, which the students had not learned yet. Then he started getting irritated. Then Eru stood up and started arguing, and then the teacher realized that teacher is always perfect and organized, who can never make such a big mistake. Find the real reason behind it. The sad teacher must have missed the class one day, but Maya makes fun of him. Satoshi says later that he still could not solve that math problem, and just this little thing. Hotero had a heart attack, and the snacks on the table. Every teacher writes different notes for their classes, and there is a little difference between them. Satoshi in Class A, and Eru in Class D. So the teacher must have confused A and D in his note as soon as Eru hears this. She softly thanks Hotero, but from inside he also wants that Satoshi and Maya disappear, and obviously both the toxic lovebirds, and their notebook bugs everything. Finally, Hotero leaves his plan and returns home with everyone. After a few days, he gets stuck in the bus, Satoshi and two girls, in the direction of a countryside village, which is very famous for its hot springs, to say thank you as soon as they reach there. Then Maya immediately convinces her and pulls everyone to her relatives' inn when they all reach there. They meet Maka's cousins, Rui and Kosei. After a while, Hotero and Satoshi check their room, where Hotero tries to be cool by looking at the beautiful view of the mountain. But Satoshi makes fun of him. You just have to admit that you are finally living outside the Matrix. In the evening, Hotero goes to the hot springs to relax. They talk while walking on both roads, where the girl shares her dreams of being a sibling. But actually, he is just thinking. And he thinks that he will get some peace, which makes Hotero think, which is later on the side of the girl. He starts overthinking. Poor Satoshi pulls him out again. But his gentle touch makes Hotero more awkward. That before this. After Iru's departure. About a mysterious client. He says that now a ghost lives in that room, with a strange illness, and started renovations. Is coming out, but he ignores, according to him. Hotero flies away from Satoshi's drone, that she saw the ghost of that client. Everyone is panicking, and sees that he is writing his name. Then Hotero sees that. This thing puts oil in the fire. Hotero takes Eru separately, and he asks, did the windows of that mysterious room? When the scary story was going on, all the windows were closed, and this thing increases even more confusion. Both start searching around the building and tell Ku to take them inside that room, but Ku refuses and says that that room is off limits, returning. They reach the exercise room, where Hotero notices that Rei has written her name on her bowl. They find out that it rained at night, and the window in front of the ghost room is also closed. Then Ko invites them for lunch. They all meet there. Then Rei wears her yukata. He feels like someone is watching him. And as expected, Satoshi is already sleeping in the water and asks Hotero thousands of questions to make sure that he doesn't faint again. Hotero notices one thing, which happened last night, when they leave there and meet Eru. That the so-called ghost wasn't actually a ghost. It turns out that Ku was actually jealous of Rei's yukata, and she wanted to wear it at the festival. Then when the rain ruined the yukata, so she opened the window in the unused room in panic, and hung it there, so that it dries, and went back there quietly in the morning. Seeing this, both Mayaka and Eru got scared. But Eru is not so happy that there is some tension between these two sisters and takes him home. A few days later, where students are already very busy preparing for the festival, like someone is an intern without a salary, like a cartoon journal. When Hotero joins the club on Eru's request, without any reason, he starts feeling emotional. But then he remembers. But Mayaka has already reached. Like she is going to call lightning from the clouds. Hotero gets a little bored. She tells that her friend has made a movie with her class, and she wants everyone to watch it before the festival. Satoshi tries to show his old flirting skills, and Fumi ignores him. Why did he even sit here? And wait for the movie to start. The movie starts with some students going on a trip, but instead of enjoying, they find an old creepy building where they plan to spend the night. Because they like horror tropes. Two students separate and start looking for some normal kids, and leave the teacher there, as if they are setting a future problem. Everyone leaves to find their room, but when they come back, a classmate is missing. They all start looking for him in the building. Then they find a locked door. The first teacher opens the door and goes inside to see that his friend is lying in the pool of his organs, and there is a separate hand near the door, which had a key. When he looks out of the window, he sees something strange in a corner, and then the movie suddenly ends, as if someone has turned off the camera. Fumi turns to them and says, "Can you solve this murder mystery?" Hotero is already very irritated. Why doesn't she do her homework herself? Why does she leave everything to random people? And most importantly, why does she have to choose the club every time? Then Fumi explains.